Some people will fight harder for a story about themselves than they will for their actual life. That's what we're looking at today, all right? 6 different moments, 6 different temperatures, same underlying problem. So let's go.
You think that once Donald Trump is gone, it's the end of MAGA? I don't know if it's the end of that sort of attitude. I mean, the MAGA is the closest thing to the modern version of the Nazi Party. This is America's version. It's the closest thing without the Holocaust and all that stuff. That sort of mindset. That's what MAGA is, because most intelligent people, or logical people, when they get new information, and if that information is negative or not factual, then they change their minds. They go, oh, well, I wish I had known better, and now that I have this information, then I can readjust. No matter what no matter how many facts and how much information you give them about this presidency, about the policies, they don't change their minds, because they're really not voting for the price of eggs. They're voting for white supremacy. They're voting for power. They're voting to have a preeminent voice. They're afraid of, they've been co-opted by many people in the Republican Party and Donald Trump to think that their failures are due to something else, the other, the black person, the woman, the Latino, the immigrant, the migrant. That person is taking your job.
She's like, okay.
That person is the reason that you don't have the financial or career success that you think that you should have. It's because of them. We want to take our country back. That's what MAGA is.
All right, Bishop Wooden, here it is. Don Lemon says that MAGA is the closest thing to the modern version of the Nazi Party.
Right.
I mean, that's a slap in the face to Jews. But he said this is America's version. It's the closest thing without the Holocaust and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing he doesn't do, he doesn't explain how that's true. He doesn't give any information. And I find it kind of, and I don't know if I should say this on Disturbing the Peace, but I find it ironic that a man who is married to a man, sitting there with what appears to be a blouse on, who engages in sexual behavior that the medical community has given us information, given the world information, that is harmful.
Yes.
It's not healthy.
Right.
It's unnatural. It is totally unproductive.
Yes.
It is the #1 spreader of AIDS in our country and in the world, and yet he participates in that.
So first up, Don Lemon decided MAGA is America's version of the Nazis. You know, he said it with his whole chest. MAGA equals Nazis, just without the Holocaust. That's not analysis, man. If you ask me, that's laziness dressed up as moral superiority. And the fact that 2 black pastors had to sit there and clean that up on camera should tell you everything you need to know. When your political sides need to compare regular Americans, to history's worst villains just to feel correct, you've already lost the argument. I mean, that thing is gone. You're not fighting ideas anymore. You're fighting for the right to stay angry. Now, I want you to watch this next one carefully. This is where the real conversation actually starts.
To people like you. You're the ones who tell me constantly that them white folk, you go on a bus trip or you go on a boat trip in Mississippi, you wouldn't come back. That's all you ever have. You want to be victims so bad. You Jamar Quavises with 2-3 kids. 2-3 different women, unmarried. You Boomquisha Shark, NATO, bonnet berets, you bonnet scholars. You just want everybody to share your ignorant view of the world. But if you were kings and queens, how come you were so easily conquered by people who want from your land? Or are you going to acknowledge that it was black folk, other Africans that enslaved you and sold you? Because remember, the Islamic African trade was just Ethiopia and the top part. What happened in the sub-Sahara? If we was kings and queens, why were we so easily taken? If we built America, why can't we have generational wealth without the white man giving us something? Jay-Z told Damian Dash, if you created Hove, make another Hove. If we built America, why do all our communities are in shambles and easily gentrified? Yeah, I know I missed that word. Gentrified, there we go. And I'm gonna leave that part in there, gentrified. And all somebody got to do was come in, buy it, and fix it up themselves. Now, 1950s, more blacks were coming into the middle class and upper middle class. We were owning homes, and then you made a video about us, how to sell to the new Negro. But in the 1970s and 80s, you failed. Things went bad. How come? How come if you built so much, everything that's predominantly black looks ruined and torn down? If you were the builders, why can't you rebuild? Oh, because you didn't. And when you did, as Tommy Sotomayor said, you had that whip to you when you did. Or we were alone by ourselves. So today's black community is a reflection of black leadership that failed.
Yeah, he said it plain. If the kings and queens story was as powerful as people claim, it would show up in the results. Not in hashtags, not in just social media posts, but in households and ownership and peace. You can't keep pointing at pyramids while the rent is late and the kids are watching the same cycle repeat. At some point, the story has to produce something you can actually live in. And if it doesn't, then maybe the story was never the point. Maybe the performance of the story was. Now, this next voice is heavier.
No lies told.
It would cut your tongue out of your mouth, but you have no type of honor for your ancestors. They would bury a woman in the ground while she was trying to give birth for entertainment. They would burn you and chop you up and throw you in a river. But you have no honor for them? Man, you insane. You're insane. It's unrecorded how many of us actually died in that slave trade. Mm-hmm. But then we got the audacity to want to kill each other.
And it gets worse, because sometimes they would eat you too. Yes, they would cook the body over a pit and then eat it. Or they would chop black body parts off and keep them as souvenirs, particularly black male penises, where they would keep them in glass jars on countertops in their kitchens. And I'm sure you all know about them using black babies as bait to catch alligators, gator bait. Buck breaking, where they would sexually assault black men right in front of women and children. Or sex farms, which were nothing more than production facilities to produce more black babies to make them future slaves. And on those sex farms, it could be black fathers being forced to have sex with their own daughters, as well as black sons forced to have sex with their own mothers. Oh, and let's not forget how they skinned some of our ancestors. Yes, skinned them. Or pulled the teeth out of the mouths of some of our ancestors while they were still alive in order to make dentures for white people. Or the white wives of slave owners who forced black men to either have sex with them or be killed, only for those black men to have sex with them, the white woman scream rape, and the black man being killed anyway. Or white slave owners who regularly molested black children, both boys and girls, and called them his little players. Or the sex parties that black women were forced to perform in whenever the slave owner would have his white male friends over as guests. All praises to our ancestors who endured the most brutal Holocaust that the planet has ever seen. And to the original men and women, could you remind me again, what is it that we're fighting over and killing one another over on a daily basis?
Okay. Now, he definitely addressed some real concerns in the community, He's talking about the violence that was done. And then the strange way some people will extend endless understanding to the ones who, participated in it while offering almost none to their own. And that's not healing, man. That's a double standard dressed up as compassion. You can't demand the world to remember every wound and then refuse to look at the ones we keep reopening ourselves. I'm not saying you have to agree or disagree with every single point made in there either, by the way. But selective memory always protects the performance first. Now, this is the moment that the title actually promised.
A black Trump supporter finds a black libtard screaming about Donald Trump in the streets of D.C., and what happens next is pure cinema.
Red, white, and Algae green!
We got a crazy
Red,
liberal.
white, and Algae green!
We got a crazy racist liberal
Red,
sitting
white,
here
and Algae green!
with Team
You're
Algae.
a fucking pet! You are a fucking
She's
pet
a
for white supremacy!
vulgar,
You are
vulgar,
a pet
Black
for
Lives
white
Matter
supremacy!
moron.
You are a pet for
Communist,
white, a pet for white
anti-American,
supremacy.
seditious traitor who doesn't appreciate that there's no country where she came from that would give her the freedoms that she has here in the United States. And I will always fight against this. I will never stop fighting against these trashy Black Lives Matter communist bitches.
A pet for white supremacy! A pet for white supremacy!
They're satanic.
There's a pet for white
They're
supremacy!
satanic.
Can we just have this man be the spokesperson for the RNC? Can this man just carry forward all the midterm message? That's what we need. We need this man just simply needs to be the spokesperson. You need to go on all the shows and just say those exact lines. That's it. Just say the same lines. It's perfect. No notes.
Yeah, exactly. One man standing outside with a Trump cutout, speaking with force. You got the woman performing pure chaos in the name of Team Algae. That contrast is really the whole problem. Virtual signaling needs an audience and a villain. It dies the second it has to stand next to someone who isn't performing. I'm sure she couldn't handle the difference between, noise and conviction. I'm sorry. Most people really can't. And it's almost demonic in a way, the way that the chance. Anywho, last one, y'all. I know I said I had 6 clips, but I think we're gonna end this one at 5. Last one. This one's pure heat, though.
Whenever I'm in a situation where somebody being racist to me, the other person gonna always think I'm an animal, you heard me? Everybody around him gonna say, shit belongs in a zoo, cause I'ma cut the up cause you don't get to judge me because I'm black. You don't get to follow me around the store because I am black. You don't get to say I steal because I'm black. And you know damn sure ain't gonna tell me I gotta move because I am black. Make me move. You do not get to mistreat us because we are black. This is not the slave days. It's not.
Okay. So, a couple things here. Impulse control. Maybe this is the reason why people are a little nervous that you're in their store. You're clearly overly medicated and you're on something like, why are you wearing these silk pajamas out in public? Could you have some self-respect? And then I think maybe 3, when is this gonna end? This faux oppression. You want real oppression? Go to Africa. Go to Haiti. You ever wondered why you don't see videos like this from Haitians who are from a black country that's not even far from America? They overthrew their white oppressors. They wore their clothes and everything. They took control of this little French society. And guess what happened next? It all collapsed into the single worst place to live in the Western Hemisphere. But this dynamic doesn't work when you recognize that black people, there are like a lot more black people in the world than white people. And so you're actually the majority. We're the minority. And so why aren't you acting right? You do know that you have a right, an ability to leave America at any time if you don't like the rules here. And the rules here are generally like, don't steal stuff. Don't steal. But you can leave. And in fact, if it's a skin color thing for you, and you're so angry about that, and you made it a skin color thing, there's a lot more majority black countries than white countries if that's the thing that really gets you upset. So you can go there. You're free to do that. Till then, and this always works with hysterical women, calm down.
She said, you will always mistreat me just because I'm black. Said it was so much fire too, right? while treating basic rules like they're optional. That's the final stage of the performance, right? When every consequence starts looking like racism and every standard starts looking like an attack. That's when the consequences starts. I mean, that's when everything starts looking like, at that point, the story has fully replaced reality. And once that happens, nothing improves. It just gets louder. And here's the part most people miss. The loudest version of history right now is the one that never has to produce anything. It only has to accuse. It only has to signal. It only has to stay angry enough to keep the costume on. But results don't care about the costume, man. You can feel the difference in these clips. One group is still trying to win an argument about who hurt them. The other group is more interested in making sure the next generation doesn't inherit the same empty script. That's not small. That's the actual separating lines. The people still married to selective history will keep performing. The ones who got tired of it are already building something that doesn't need a villain to survive. And that gap between those two groups is getting way, way harder to ignore. If y'all made it to the end of this video, we're going to comment the word fruit. That's exactly what I'm going to grab me an apple, give me a little fiber in for my day. But other than that, man, I'll leave y'all with, actually, you will recognize them by their fruits. Matthew 7:16. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. Could be saving their life. Peace.